let's get into the meat of the show we're actually here to talk about. And that is, of course, Shang-Chi. Here's the log line from IMDb. Actually, I kind of modified it a little, so it's a bit of a mishmash. Anyway, well, IMDb's log line was a little weak. All right. Kung Fu master Shang-Chi is forced to confront his past after being discovered by the secret Ten Rings organization. Folks, the basic gag here is you've got this Sean guy, a remarkably fit and intelligent car hop, and his buddy, whose character's name I forget right
Katie.
now. Thank you, Katie. Katie Fowler, Katie Awkwafina, played by Awkwafina, who's also just hanging out with them as another car hop, even though she has an honors degree from Berkeley. And that's basically what they're doing. They're pissing away their time doing joyrides, not trying to aspire to anything until they, and what was it, hanging out in karaoke bars until a rather interesting conflict, which I'm sure everyone's seen, at least in the trailer, if they haven't seen the film, where they're attacked by several Kung Fu masters in a bus, one of those flexi buses, the streets of San Francisco. And of course, there's like a race through the streets, even as they're having a Kung Fu showdown and Sean, apparently he's not just some slacker, but might have some skills. So and then of course it leads into, I gotta go warn my sister. Katie, what do you mean you have a sister? I didn't even know you could kick ass like this. So there's the basic gag of the film. It is a Marvel. It's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here are the players. It was directed by Destin. Here, just a sec here. Destin Daniel Cretton. Written by Dave Callaham, Destin Daniel Cretton, and Andrew Lanham. It stars Simu Liu and Awkwafina, but it also stars Meng'er Zhang, Fala Chen, Florian Munteanu. Oh, really screwed that one up. My bad. Benedict Wong, Michelle Yeoh, Ben Kingsley, and Tony Leung. As far as its ideological ingredients, everyone, let's bring them up here. Okay. Ideological ingredients, the social nutrition checklist. Would it earn a reframe stamp? No. Is it union made? As a matter of fact, it is. Does it pass the Bechdel test? You know what? In a couple of very barely's. Oh, Jim, you're about to say something?
I think it did. And I sort of filed it away in my head.
It was a couple of barely's. Like just barely's, but it made it. Like Michelle Yeoh and Meng'er Zhang, Xu Ling and Auntie, can't remember, in the village. They have a moment. The granny and the Awkwafina have a bit of a, like, I mean, there are a couple of moments. And yeah, it's not like no one had anything to do, but it does. It does pass this test.
I think Awkwafina is asking the sister about her own life, which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dad issues came up though. I was like, I couldn't count that one, but it was, it was refreshing. It wasn't all, oh, but my father, they were having a conversation. But does class consciousness, is there class consciousness here? Oh, that's a big fat no. It's not that kind of movie. It's not that kind of movie. All right. So with that in mind, Jim, let's give me your quick review. Give me your take on it, man.
I was trying to avoid any kind of spoilers here because we're not in the no spoiler zone yet. But we are
in the no spoiler zone.
Yeah,
we will be in the spoiler zone soon.
Anytime a movie gets such kind of early high praise and high scores in Rotten Tomatoes on both sides of the aisle. And then you have your own sort of high expectations. That's not always great for a movie to have. It's sort of you go in super keyed up, and I went with my son, and we were both the same way. Now, we both really liked it. And the thing that I think impressed me the most, there was a lot of fighting in this. There's 4 key fight scenes we'll talk about later in the spoiler zone, perhaps. And those were, they incorporated elements of Jackie Chan, and I would argue ballet / ice dancing / figure skating in when you use dance to tell a story. And there was a couple of those scenes that I thought were really impressive. In fact, I sort of wish that the whole thing was one long fight and you didn't have any dialogue or anything in between.
None of that almost chit chat getting in the way.
Like an opera, like no spoken lines. It's all sung. But in any case, so I really liked it. Obviously, Simu Liu can hold a movie on his own. Awkwafina, I when she came on the scene, wasn't entirely sure about her, but she's won me over in a couple of movies now. Did it have some issues? I think the third act was a little bit overinflated. I didn't know about what happened in the third act, so it sort of caught me a little off guard. But I'm willing to go along for the ride. Like if it takes me there, I'm willing to go. I sort of thought that they made the bad guy a little bit, or this situation a little bit too heady there. There's a couple other things too that were bugging me. I don't think it's as existential enough. My dad's 1,000 years old, and here's my aunt who lives in a secret realm.
Who
Pretty
might
cool,
be 4,000 years old.
And then, if I mention anything else, those are spoilers. But, there's sort of not a lot of like, holy crap, how is this? Anyway. And, they do a little bit of that, but, and then there's some of the usual sort of Marvel fingerprints all over it. And there's some issues with Western depictions of the hero and what they can and can't get away with. I think there was a missing scene. We can talk about that later. But anyway, I really liked it. And when it got back towards the end, again, trying not to spoil it, it sort of got back to that early energy that it had. So I quite liked the epilogue there. But really good. I'm totally looking forward to more of this character, and Canada.
Jim, I enjoyed it so much. I saw it twice.
Whoa!
I saw it Thursday night, and then I saw it this afternoon, ostensibly to make sure that I give everyone, that memory did not fade, and perhaps I went and saw it again today. It is interesting how the second time around you start to see some of the flaws. They pop out a little. They pop out. But that said, I think part of the reason they pop out is there's so few flaws in this film that they become really clear. That's it. Getting back to it, I had a great time. Yeah. I felt like I was on a similar emotional ride with those great action set pieces where it was stupid exciting. The world building was great. The Chinese Asian vibe that they were giving felt, and we'll have to wait for more commentary to come out to see how, was anything actually like offensive but I felt it. I felt because the leads were Asian that it didn't feel like Western cultural tourism. I felt myself really sympathizing with Shang-Chi, really sympathizing with his sister, Xiling, I think Xiling or Shuling. Played by Meng'er Zhang, who I cannot wait to see in other movies. Every time she was on the screen, it's like, damn, you're just exciting to watch. She just has such great fucking presence. Well, at the same time, you're not doing something we talked about. Remember the Tomorrow War, where at times it's, Chris Pratt looked maybe a little lost in the frame, like kind of what a nice guy there. Here, Simu Liu doesn't give us that. But I felt like I was on an emotional journey, like we jammed all 3 Star Wars, like episode 4, 5, 6, the original trilogy. There's so many beats without it being like a knockoff. I don't mean it that way, but there's so many, maybe not beats, but elements in there. This idea of a father, a bad father, a brother and sister separated, the idea they got to come together to get the big win. The fact, that there's atonement, there's some great relationship building. I had a great deal of sympathy for all these characters. The only thing I would say on the downside, although we'll get into more detail later, I did feel that at times, well, 2 things. One, at times they didn't have enough for Awkwafina to do. Why that is, we can speculate later, because it gets into specific plot points and everything, but I felt at times they didn't. And then now early, you can see this, like I'm not spoiling anything here. There are scenes though, where it's like, did they have Awkwafina and Simu on set the same day? Like especially some of the stuff, like it looks like inserts, maybe reshoot stuff. Like she's looking away from the camera and talking, and it's all just kind of almost like weird kind of busybody stuff. And it's like, I'm not sure they're in the same actual room. I know we're being shown the same room. And there were other parts where it's like, she seemed disconnected from the film. And anything else, like I said, it kind of revolves around Awkwafina, but I can't say it's her performance or, it's just, I think they just didn't maybe quite figure out how to really exploit her, why that is, who knows? But that said, I had a fucking fantastic time. I did see out of my eye, somebody about top 10 in the MCU from Lost in the Reel, from Sean at Lost in the Reel, and the Upside Down. And I'm like, I don't know about Jim. I don't know about you, but I can certainly say the best summer movie of this summer. And I liked Black Widow for different reasons. And so I don't want to compare them head to head, but this is going to stick with me for a while, even though I can see, here's another hot take. I'm like, as I was coming out of the theater, I'm like, boy, local kung fu, a lot of little kids are a lot of little boys and girls are gonna want to learn kung fu all of a sudden. No.
You're gonna find a lot of broken fences leading away from the movie theater.
I did. I got choked up at the right times. I felt it ended well. Like I felt everything was properly resolved. Like you said, these films can have their faults, but I really enjoyed it and wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it out there. Maybe they're just watching this later when I do the quick review. Get your derriere in a theater if it's safe where you are. Watch this movie. Watch it. Very good. Don't wait until it's on streaming. No. Jim, like you said earlier, boy, this is a movie that can own you, especially if you're in the right environment. So a couple things when you mentioned Awkwafina being separate. I felt the same way about some of the early Ben Kingsley scenes where he seems a little bit apart from the rest, and they actually don't. I don't think there's any one shot of him and Simu just sort of, talking with each other. It's they're in the car and the camera goes to the back seat and the front seat
And so I sort of did get that same sense of disconnection there. I was going to say something else too, but yeah, no, I'm going to see it a second time because I promised my wife I would take her on a not busy night because yeah, the whole COVID thing sort of freaks her out. And we were in, what they do here in Canada is they give you a couple seats and they sort of create a moat around you. It's like Minesweeper. So you can't see it in the immediate seats, or you're not allowed to or supposed to sit in the immediate seats around you. So yeah, I'm sort of I'm curious to see. It's fun when you go with somebody different to see their their opinion of it as well. But the other thing too, and I'm surprised Lost in the Reel hasn't thrown this back at us. There's a Marvel superhero with the name Sean.
Oh! Now, if this quick review only whetted your appetite and you want to dive deeper into this film, check out the replay of this episode of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. Every show we go beyond the review to get into the craft, the story, and the meaning of the films we watch. And if you subscribe and ring that bell, you'll get the heads up in time to join us and the best chat on the internet live. See what I did there? Anyway, that's about it. Thanks so much for checking out our review. And, bye-bye.